Exodus 18 is one of those very profound chapters of the Bible that deals directly with the subject of leadership. And in that part of the scriptures, you will have a Moses that was leading people, but he wasn't leading with ease. His leadership was complex, difficult, life-threatening, and of course, about to collapse. Thank God for the counsel of his father-in-law named Jethro. That redefined Moses' leadership and, of course, elongated his life on earth. This is Leaders Arise, and my name is Demola Awoyele. I want to say thank you for being a part of today's broadcast. In some couple of minutes, we're going to look at the subject of leadership, especially as it relates to delegation. And of course, in Exodus 18 that I introduced my broadcast with, you saw a scenario that played out there. Here was a Moses pastoring or leading, I guess, close to 3 million people. One man leading 3 million people. Look at it. Think about it. Rack your brain around it. 3 million people, one man. One man. And that is how some people do. They want to take pride, pleasure on the fact that they are leading 3 million people doing it alone. And guess what? There were issues in that assembly. There will always be issues. All right? And I believe that it was a lack of leadership that brought about that issue. Remember, the same thing was what you saw in Acts chapter 6. Disciples were leading thousands of people, more than 30,000, more than 5,000, I guess, because that just happened immediately after the Holy Ghost came down, and thousands of people gave their life to Jesus. The church had grown. The organization had become big, but that is when leadership also needs to step in. And that is what a lot of people do not realize, that as your work grows, your leadership must get better. If your work grows faster, of bigger than your leadership, you are going to enter a crisis very soon. Can I say that again? If your work, when I mean your work, your business, your job, your career, your ministry, even your family, if it grows faster and bigger than your leadership development, you are going to enter into a crisis soonest. That was what you saw in Exodus 18. 3 million people being led by one man, and unfortunately, that man did not understand yet the power of delegation. Not until his father-in-law Jethro came on the scene and introduced him to that powerful principle. And of course, in Acts chapter 6 also, the church had just been bettered. There was numerous people coming to the church. The growth has been phenomenal. But unfortunately, disciples were still doing it alone, and there was complaints. Now, listen to me very well. Anytime you hear complaints, anytime you hear murmuring and what have you, it is almost always because of a lack of leadership. Or perhaps the leadership is not the way it should be. Sometimes leadership is present, but leadership is not well done. So rather than jettisoning the complaint, rather than blaming somebody else for the complaints that are happening, a good leader learns to look at the complaint and weigh it and see what he can do to improve his leadership. And that was exactly what the apostles did in Acts chapter 6. They said, well, these complaints are uncalled for. Let's do something. Let's delegate. Because before then, perhaps it was the apostles that were sharing bread, that were sharing fishes, that were doing all of those other things, and added to their teaching and preaching engagements and praying and all of that. They were doing everything together, and because they were limited, there were people that could not be met. There were people that were neglected, albeit unintentionally. And that's what happens when leaders don't delegate. You will discover that some sides of the work will be left unattended to. And that is not because you are not mindful of those aspects, not because you don't want to do them, but because you are limited. You are limited. You are limited. That is the truth. And that's the power of delegation. Delegation helps you to solve the problem of your personal limitation. No matter how gifted you are, no matter how skillful you are, no matter how anointed you are, no matter how wealthy you are limited. The earlier you realize this, the better. So for the apostles, they were limited. All right, so unfortunately, complaints, murmuring began to come up in the assembly. And of course, they did what every great leader does. What did they do? They said, well, we can't leave important things as it were and now begin to serve tables. Okay, so let's do this. Let's delegate serving of tables to other people. That was awesome. So they called Stephen, they called Philip, they called Nicholas, and what have you. And they gave them that part of the work to do. And that is delegation. Understanding that you cannot do everything, you are limited in your time, in your energy, and in humanity. And looking for able people, all right, to be able to delegate to. And of course, when they did that, the organization or the assembly, all right, stabilized. New level of growth came. Then, of course, there was health. And that work could proceed further. Going back to Exodus 18, the same thing happened. All right, people began to have issues to deal with. Even as at that, Moses did not still understand the need to delegate. Like I said earlier, those complaints, those issues that Moses was sitting down to solve, they were issues that probably could have been dealt with were there leadership that was there leadership that was put in place. But because there was no leadership in place, people began to have issues. I'm not saying that even when you have leadership, people won't have issues, but at least we reduce, all right, those issues. So when those issues were coming to Moses, instead of him to realize that, oh, we need leaders at all levels, Moses now sat as the man of God. Like a lot of leaders do. We want to just be the one at the helm of affairs. We want to be the face of the organization. We want to be the one everybody is saying, everybody is coming to, and what have you. So he sat down from morning to the night, judging the people. Both small matters, big matters, they brought everything to Moses. And you can imagine he was sweating under AC. He was sweating. He was famished. He was tired. His eyes was almost closing, I can imagine. Yet, he kept doing it. He kept having a sense of importance from the crowd that were queuing to get their justice from Moses' leadership. But one day, his father-in-law Jethro came and said, what are you doing? Now, listen to me. He would have thought that his father-in-law would have been impressed by the mammoth crowd that were waiting to be seen by Moses. And that's one thing about mentors. Mentors are not usually impressed with what you are impressed with. Has a mentor ever come your way that instead of him to be clapping for you, is giving you a knock on your head? That's what mentors are. Because you will have imagined that when Moses' father-in-law came, could have applauded Moses and say, wow, my son-in-law is doing great work. Look at millions of people queuing for justice, queuing to be attended to. But he said, Moses, come. The thing that you are doing is not good. Wow. And that looks like a very surprising statement to Moses. The thing I'm doing is not good. I'm here slaving myself. I'm here, sweating it out, trying to cancel people, and you are telling me the thing I'm doing is not good. That was perhaps the first time that Moses saw that the thing that he was doing was not good. After all, what is not good about canceling people? Staying up, waking up early in the morning, staying up late at night to attend to people. That appeared good, but listen to me. Leaders don't only do what is good, they do what is right. What is good might be staying up late in the night, waking up in the morning to attend to, but what is right is ensuring that the proper leadership structure is put in place. And for the first time ever, I guess, in the leadership journey of Moses, his father-in-law gave him a powerful principle, which has become a very powerful principle till now, as far as the subject of leadership is concerned. Go to Harvard school, go to whatever kind of school, these are the same principles, or this is the same principle that are being taught there. But guess what? That principle is obtained from the Bible. That's why I tell people the biggest and greatest book on leadership, and of course on any subject in life, is the Bible. The people of the world take lessons from the Bible and apply it to their enterprise, but unfortunately they do not recognize the author or the source of their principle. But I'm a child of God, I'm a pastor, I will tell you delegation is seen in scriptures. Jesus also delegated to his disciples, Luke chapter 10. You see that everywhere. God delegated to man. He said it is not good. He said, let us make man in our own image and let them have dominion. So God created man so that man can be his delegatee. So God gave us delegated authority to man the earth while he mans the heaven. Because the psalmist says, the heaven of the heavens are of the Lord, are the Lord's, but the earth he has delegated or given to the sons of men. I leave you with that thought on delegation. Take your time and meditate upon it and see how you can apply the same understanding or principle to your own life and endeavor, be it your family, your work, your job, your business, your ministry, and even your everyday life. Because if you learn the principle of delegation, you are going to prolong your life, prolong your work, multiply your result, and of course, reduce or eliminate, if possible, crisis from your life and leadership. Thank you for being a part of today's broadcast. I will continue from here at the very next episode. This is Leaders Arise, and my name is Demola Awoyele. In case you have questions, you have comments or feedback, please send them to me right away. Then, of course, like our page if you have not. Subscribe to this channel in case you're on YouTube. Share this video everywhere possible. Go right there. Be the great leader you are meant to be. Bye for now.